In George Eliot's Silas Marner, Silas realizes that there is more to life than gold, and he comes to love a fellow human Eppie more than his treasure. Silas ends up placing both his gold and Eppie on a pedestal, which leads him to see these things only as he wants to perceive them. Because Silas inherently classifies both his gold and Eppie as wealth, he becomes far too dependent on Eppie as a substitute for gold and therefore loses the ability to control his own future. Eppie is a substitute for Silas's treasure that soon turned into something more. Silas and the gold was a relationship that could never return his affection or anything for that matter. He lived for the times at night he would sit by the fire and endlessly count his treasure. But at night came his revelry. At night he closed his shutters and made fast his doors and drew forth his gold. When Eppie appeared, he developed the same type of relationship he had with the gold, an emotional one. However, Eppie had the ability to love him in return, unlike the gold. While Silas was feeling lost, to his surprise, something had come to replace his hoard, which gave a growing purpose to the earnings, drawing his hope and joy continually onward beyond the money. This shows Silas realized he was not truly happy with the gold. Eppie gave him a purpose in life and was worth living and spending for. Eppie's love made Silas a happier person. He decided to stop letting Lanterdown affect his way of life in Raveloe by only spending and staying inside all day. Silas started to grow as a person. He talked to his neighbors, he went to church, and he lived a life he wanted Eppie to be proud of. Love is dangerous because of how destructive it can be. A person or object can be taken away in an instant, just like Silas's gold was stolen. Having Silas's prized possessions stolen nearly tore him apart. Sitting with Silas, Godfrey, and Nancy, talking about possible living arrangements, Eppie looked at Silas for a reaction, when she began to notice him put his trembling hands to his head and gave a wild, ringing scream, the cry of desolation. This shows how much Silas could not bear the thought of living his accustomed life without Eppie. He couldn't contain his hurt any longer, so he let out a scream. If Eppie decided to live with Godfrey, Silas's pain would be unbearable. Resting her hand on Silas's shoulder, Eppie felt him trembling violently. He was silent for some moments when Mr. Cass had ended, powerless under the conflict of emotions, all alike painful. This quote displays that Silas was unsure of Eppie's intentions. He was scared she was going to leave him, and he had already gone through the pain of losing the gold. The thought of losing another thing he had become attached to was heart-wrenching. He relied on his gold and then Eppie for happiness. Silas needed to learn to be happy without his gold, and without Eppie. Eppie helped show him that one can find happiness within the church, being open-minded, and reaching out to others. If a person hands over their power to someone else, they are no longer in control of their own life. Putting all of the power into an inanimate object or person is a big risk because of how easily it can be taken away. One begins to live life according to the object or person. In the beginning, Silas lived for the gold. He spent all day to receive gold, and when he received it, he would stay up all night counting the gold. His life had reduced itself to the functions of weaving and hoarding, without any contemplation of an end towards which the functions tended. This quote displays how out of touch with reality he had become. Silas's life revolved around spending and counting. He forgets his true purpose in life and begins to only live for the gold, until Eppie came along. Silas realizes, in the end, how lucky he is. The stolen treasure was a blessing in disguise. He finally has a love that can be returned. After Eppie decided to stay and live with Silas, he was relieved. It was a confirmation to him that their love between father and daughter was mutual. As shown, loving someone so much can be dangerous. One becomes too attached and it ends up relying on the other for true happiness, which is not the other's job. Someone can be taken from another so easily that one should always treasure another, but never put one above him or herself.